What's up, everybody?
Hello.
Episode 3.
Retro Game Bros podcast. Thanks for joining us.
How's it going out there? Comment, subscribe, like us. Today we're going to talk about RPG games, old and new.
Acronym for role-playing games, if you don't know. Well, anybody watching this channel should know that.
Right.
But if not,
Yeah.
There you go.
If you don't know, you need to leave.
No, we welcome
Just
everyone. It's educational too, so it's okay.
So you want to start with like where you got your beginnings of RPGs? Like when did you start playing?
I don't know.
Was it video game wise, or did you start with like D&D or?
I started with D&D and went from there.
Really?
Yep.
Like when
Yeah.
was the first time you played D&D? Because I remember you used to Dungeon Master. So.
It was one of my buddy's brother. He was older brother, and technically that's the first RPG I've played. Obviously not video game, but, you know. And he was the DM, of course, because he was all into it, and he had the whole divider thing. And
I miss those days, though.
yeah,
We used to do it as well.
yeah. So he was the campaign master. He actually was very detailed in his campaigns and everything, so it made it really interesting. And of course, when you're younger, you have even more of an imagination. So it was like, whoa. Us growing up when we had to use our imagination more than the kids do these days, obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
We had I had this little toy, the cowboys and Indians, right? It was like a red guy Indian with like a axe. And in my mind, I was playing like a video game with it, just in the living room. Like, I still want to make it into a game. It's like an Indian from the past. Something comes and takes him to the future, and he's like in a Mega Man-esque stage fighting robots with like an axe. It's crazy.
I think that was the point, though, of like D&D too. It was just to get your imagination.
Yeah,
because it was all paper and.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
My cousin used to play Dungeons and Dragons with all of his buddies at the bowling alley we used to hang out at, like 89.
Which one?
Do
you remember?
I think it was called AMF.
AMF, yep. They're still around.
Yeah, it was off of that one in particular isn't there anymore. It was off of like Main Street.
Ours was
Stapley or Baseline or not Baseline, Stapley or Mesa Drive, somewhere around that area.
Yeah. Back home in El Paso, in Texas, it was Bolero. They have those
Never
too
heard of
still.
it.
Yeah, they have them here too, actually.
Oh,
well,
wow.
they have a Bolero here somewhere.
But yeah, I used to, excuse me, I used to watch them play that like in the corner of the food court, and I was like, I didn't even know what the hell was going on. So,
Wait, they were playing there?
Yeah, they would play there all the time.
Smoking cigarettes probably and all that?
Probably, yeah.
That's
or
awesome.
Some of the friends. My cousin didn't smoke, but I know some of his friends did. But yeah, I think one of them worked there, so they got the hookup on food and drink, and they could just do whatever they wanted, play games and
Man,
arcades.
that's awesome. I miss hanging out. Like, people were more social back then,
Definitely.
Now you call each other on the computer or whatever, but
Yeah, you can do D&D over Skype.
sure, yeah.
So, what?
Well, okay, so I'm not cutting you off, but that was
good.
a perfect segue into one of the games I was going to talk about, because it's based off D&D, which is Baldur's Gate.
The first for PC.
The first one.
Yeah.
Now,
I played that one as well.
Yeah. Now, Baldur's Gate, I mean,
like 7 discs.
Yes,
It was a huge game.
And I know they have a remastered version, or it's called Enhanced Edition now, where it makes it look better and all that. I'm talking about the original. It actually makes the gameplay better now, because
kind of clunky, actually.
it was super clunky. So I did actually try the enhanced version later,
Right.
or Enhanced Edition, and it did fix those bugs and the clunkiness. Made it look better and everything, but it was pretty darn clunky.
It was hard too. In some
was.
places. I remember fighting a golem that was just like, it was hard. It
Right.
was so hard.
But it was like, it's D&D. That's what
Yeah.
I liked about it, and I understood it. And this one of the first ones I played. I know you're going to ask what's the very first RPG game I played.
You already took it from me.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
fine.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, when you're creating your character, which was one of the best parts, you can spend an hour just doing that, and that's how the game begins. I always picked half elf because that's what I did in the actual D&D.
Okay.
And it stays true to everything, like the stats and everything, like dexterity, constitution, what's your alignment and all that. All you D&D players know what I'm talking about. And I remember that you can pick up to 6 party members, or I think that was the max that you can have in your party, and it was on the right side of the screen. Because when you start, it's just like you, and it's like a empty strip, and then you start meeting people and you build up your party, which was awesome to me because usually when we were playing with friends and all that, the original D&D, I mean, everybody was already there.
Yeah.
And the party was already built. This was kind of like you start yourself and then you meet people. You get to pick kind of who joins and all that.
So you just triggered a memory. So I didn't play D&D.
That's my job.
That's fine. I didn't play the book D&D until later on in like late junior high, early high school.
Okay.
So
Did you get the players?
went to Atomic Comics, I think, or
Yeah.
one of those shops, and we bought a brand. It was actually I take that back. It was a place in the mall that
Okay.
that sold the campaigns. I don't remember to this day because
They
there were
sold
so many.
campaigns?
Yeah, they it was like a box, and it was like a starter kit, and had a manual and a.
Oh, that's cool.
So
We always I just remember, doing it ourselves. I didn't know there was actual campaigns that you can buy. That's cool.
maybe later on, from when you started, because
That must have been later,
yeah, we got a starter kit that came with some dice and a couple of books, and gave you it was like a 3,000 page instruction manual on how to play the game. and
Jeez. Yeah.
maybe not that. That was an over exaggeration, but
Right.
So, my first RPG, I thought was Final Fantasy on the NES,
Okay.
but remembering now that
Drum roll.
the memory that you triggered was actually a game called Bard's Tale
Oh, yeah.
on the Amiga. My brother had an Amiga.
Sheesh.
I think it was Amiga 500, if I'm not mistaken.
I didn't play it on the Amiga, but I played it later.
Yeah, it came out on a bunch of systems, but
Yeah, super popular.
I don't remember much about that game, so I won't
Yeah.
get into too much details. But
Right.
when you were talking about building your party on Bard's Tale, that's kind of what you did. You started off by yourself, and then you went over to the tavern, and you just picked basically people that were sitting around in the tavern, and you created your character based off of that. You could make them like a dwarf or an elf or
Yeah.
fighter, and you got up to a certain amount of people. That's really all I remember about that. So
Well, in the last episode, we were talking about, you said digital D&D.
yeah,
So that's one of the first ones I played was Legend of the Red Dragon, or short Lord. Seth Abel. That's the guy who created it. And I don't know if it was like on BBS's first, or he just did it and a bunch of people started downloading it. It was all ASCII and text and command prompt based, right? That was D&D pretty much. I mean, that was an RPG.
there's actually some in the Play Store that you can download for your phone.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And on the last episode, there's those sites where you can still play it.
Mm-hmm.
Like on the last episode, I put a link to play Nibbles.
Okay.
So I played it the other day. I was like, wow, it's crazy. It's just like I remembered.
It's probably worse.
Yeah, probably. So what was that one mud you were talking about?
Zork?
No, the other one. It was like caves.
Colossal Cave.
That one.
That one was in the 70s. That was one of the first games Roberta Williams played. She was the creator of King's Quest and many
Nice.
basically the whole Sierra company from the 80s on.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Fun fact:
her and her husband Ken.
Oh, nice. The fun fact: the first King's Quest I played was King's Quest V. So I was a little late in the game on that, but
It's
man,
one of the
it blew
better
me
ones.
away. Yeah,
For
I
sure.
remember being creeped out. Like you're in the forest and you're like, I think you're going after a witch, and you see her house in the distance. You're
Yeah.
like, whoa, that just creeped me out.
And it was like a gingerbread house.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Hansel
love
and
that
Gretel
game.
style. Yeah,
So
but
that was a major side quest right there.
a little bit.
So
I mean, it's RPG, so not too much
we're
of a
role
side
playing
quest.
right now.
I don't know if that'll. I don't know if that'll justify a side quest graphic right now, but
That's fine. So back to, I'm still going to classify Final Fantasy 1 for the NES as my, because it's the one I have the most fond memories of. So I didn't even really know what an RPG was until I got my first Nintendo Power magazine, which was Player's Guide, Final Fantasy Player's Guide.
Yeah.
It was Nintendo Power number 17. And I remember looking at it just on the floor, like reading it, what's this? What's an inn? And I thought that an inn was a place where you went to get money. I'm like 8,
yeah, you're
9
a kid.
years old. I'm like, I don't know what this crap is. So I'm like, cool, I got to get this game. Because like every time you visit, you go to the inn and you get like $50 or $100 or whatever. And
Yeah.
later that year, I believe it was 1990 Christmas, I got Chippendale's Rescue Rangers and Final Fantasy for the NES. And
Nice.
I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was just running around like dying. I didn't know what leveling up was or whatever, but eventually I got the hang of it and, you know, had that player's guide to help me out too. And, you know, sadly the inns made you spend money, not give you money. And it was
In
how
that
you,
game,
it was
yeah.
how you save the game too. So.
Right, because you always need to sleep there, and you figured, oh, it's some kind of hotel or something when you were a kid.
Right. So, yeah, that was basically my entry to RPGs, which is one of my favorite genre of video game, like
Yeah,
RPGs
same,
and
still.
Metroidvanias is way up there. And I love platformers too, but
Yeah.
that's a side quest
Yeah.
in itself right there.
Me and him are a lot alike when it comes to gaming. Pretty much my favorites too. RPG,
No sports
Metroidvanias.
games over here, kids.
No.
Sorry.
No, except Tecmo Bowl. I think Tecmo Bowl is awesome.
So I have to say, I actually Googled this because we were discussing, can't talk. We were discussing whether Zelda was considered an RPG or what would you have to consider for a video game to be classified as an RPG. And Google said, what defines as an RPG in a video game? A video game is defined as a role-playing game when it focuses on players embodying a specific character or party within a detailed world, emphasizing narrative character progression through stats and leveling.
Interesting.
And decision-making. Key elements include customized character development, inventory management, skill trees, and branching quests that shape the story. So when I read that, I'm like, Zelda kind of captures a lot of that, with the exception of like leveling
up.
because you have inventory management.
I mean, technically, you get more hearts,
right?
get more life.
Yeah,
It could be
you get swords that level up.
right.
Well, at least in Link to the Past, you
Weapons,
leveled up.
items.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So
I think so. What is Zelda? Is it like action?
it's like an action
or
RPG adventure game.
RPG, and they throw adventure in there.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of its own thing.
They
too.
don't classify it as an RPG. I just said that, but it's action adventure is what I meant to say.
Right.
Because even on the Nintendo original box, it said Adventure Series.
That's right. Yeah, it was
So-
categorized in the adventure series.
But-
So
I mean, leave a comment if you think Zelda is an RPG or an adventure, or like if it's a gray area or
yeah,
something.
what do you think?
Yeah.
We're curious. We'd like to
mean,
know.
I've always felt like the action adventure games, Soul Blazer, Illusion of Gaia,
Mm-hmm.
Zelda, even the Ys games. Actually, the Ys are more considered RPG because of the leveling.
Right.
So, but I'm actually a fan of the hack and slash action RPG games like Secret of Mana and a
heck
few of the
yeah.
ones that I just mentioned. So,
Yeah, I mean that's what
That
I
was a
first
side
started
quest right
playing. Yeah, exactly. To me, they were just Zelda-like games or the adventure type fantasy stuff,
Yeah.
right? And one of the first RPGs I played was Dragon Warrior, okay, which was pretty clunky, I think, but it was
that one was hard to figure out.
and you know, bird's eye view, whatever, like the overworld. The map was like super like primitive. It was, you know,
So much grinding. You
Yeah.
couldn't get anywhere without it was monster after monster, and then you couldn't buy anything without saving. You had to do like 100 battles just to get enough gold to buy like even the entry level armor and weapons in that game.
Right. And I don't remember if it was that one or the first Dragon Quest. See, because my brain bundles those two together.
They're the same.
Yeah.
Dragon Quest
That's
was
why they're
Japan,
similar. Yeah.
And Dragon Warrior was America.
Was here.
Because
okay.
Americans are. I don't know why they have to change. I'm not.
Well, because they were inspired by
Right.
what the Japanese did. So, and I remember if it was Dragon Quest or Dragon Warrior 1, it was actually a short game. I can't remember which one it was. It was only like maybe 10 hours max.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can't remember.
I think I put a hell of a lot more hours into that than 10 hours.
Warrior or
The first
Quest?
one, yeah. Warrior, Dragon Warrior.
Okay, so it's probably Quest then. I think Dragon Quest 1 was considered the shortest one in the series.
Okay.
Because
We're going to have to research and make. I'm pretty sure they're the same exact game.
Yeah. Well, it's not. Yeah,
Kinda like-
Warrior and Quest are different, obviously, but different like main characters or
I
whatnot.
wonder if the Japanese version had different stuff in it versus the American one. We'll have to do some research on that and put it in the little thingy when we edit.
Right. Speaking of Quest 64. Okay, I gotta mention
I
that
have
one.
that mentioned as the worst RPG that I've
Yeah.
ever played in my entire life.
And it's still considered one of the worst, but it's interesting why. Because, okay, it came out when I graduated high school, guys, all right, 1998, which I'm dating myself there. So it was still early in the Nintendo 64 system when it came out. It was one of the first games. And a lot of people say, yeah, it's the worst. The issue is that they polished unfinished games more back then.
Mm-hmm.
It was unfinished because I remember playing it, and you go into like a level or a world, like overworld, I guess you could say. It was all 3D, like Mario 3D, because that was big back then. Still polygon and all that. But the landscape and everything was just so empty. There was nothing.
Dude, it was like
it was
just run around. You're like, what do I do?
Yeah, people say that about the new Zeldas.
Oh yeah.
Okay, they're
Breath
like,
of the Wild.
I feel lonely. There's nothing. I'm like, no. This is
That was me when I first played Breath of the Wild. I'm like, what do I do?
right. But Quest
But
still
remember, Zelda's not an RPG.
exactly.
Apparently.
But Quest was just there was nothing, and the way the camera was set, you were always set in these like little narrow pathways, and it was just I don't know. And you were restricted on your you had a radius, if you remember that line and dots when you cast a spell. I always remember the rocks falling, that spell, whatever that was.
Yeah.
And if the enemy wasn't within that grid, you would miss them.
Your sister liked that game.
She loved that game.
beat
I
it,
was
didn't
just
she?
going to mention her. Yeah.
I only played it for like maybe 2 hours and I was done. I couldn't do it.
For a fact, and not counting Zelda, I think that was her first RPG.
Okay.
That
makes
was
sense.
her
And
first.
she was a little younger too, so
She was.
for her it was probably more captivating because we were used to like Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, Xanadu.
And this, what was the place? It was called Keltland, in Quest 64, and it was the son of some wizard mage guy, and he had that little alfalfa hair type hairstyle. It was weird. It was like, okay, but it kind of they hyped it up a lot. And I think when people played it, they were like,
I think it was
Fake
because it
news.
was probably one of the only RPGs to come out on the 64.
yeah. Well,
And-
like I said, it was one of the first games on the 64, so it was early on.
From what I
in its
understand, Square was going to develop a Final Fantasy game for the 64 until they had their whole like falling out.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there was ever a prototype for that or not, or if there was ever even like a mock-up.
Right.
But
It was polished enough to where they released it. But you can tell now, being older, you're like, dang, that is an unfinished game. But you know what? Now it's weird because like my sister, she has fond memories of it. She loves that game. And I liked it too because of when I played it in the time period. I'm not going to be like, oh, it was horrible. It was a cool game. I've played worse. That's for darn sure.
right.
But
So
it's not the best, that's for sure.
that one and this game that I want to talk about that I have in my notes here, hands down worst RPG ever made. But this one I actually played and beat. So there was a game that came out on the 3DO, the Panasonic 3DO, called Guardian War.
Never heard of it.
And I was fortunate enough to be spoiled with the 3DO system when I was younger. Had some great games on it, but this game was just, it was weird.
Was it?
I liked it as a kid, but coming back to it as an adult, I'm like, why did I play this game? So it was, your character was always facing like 2D, and you turned the screen around him so that it had that 3D like atmosphere, rotational, whatever.
Huh.
Kind of like Doom.
Yeah, I got to look that up. I've never played it.
So you create your character. You're like a golem that is awakened by the goddess. I have her name right here because I couldn't remember. No, I guess not. It's okay. You had a goddess that woke you up.
There you go. That's cool.
And you're going through this world to destroy the evil Lord Azrael, and you create your golem as like a warrior or a mage or whatever. And
of course, it's a demon name, something like that.
But the overworld map was laid out similar to like Super Mario World or Mario 3, where you start like in the corner and then you move to this. You couldn't go any further until you entered that zone.
It was linear. It's like...
Yeah. So you enter that zone, and it's just this like open, pixelated forest, let's say, and you run into these weird-looking skull creatures at first or whatever. They look like skeletons.
Yeah.
And you have to fight and just kill all the monsters in that zone. And then once you defeat that, area, then you move to the next one and so on and so forth.
Right.
And you gain levels from that. And I don't remember if you could go back to the previous zones to continue to grind. I don't know if it was necessary or not, but you unlocked more golems as the game progressed to have, I think, up to 3 people in your party.
Wow.
And the story was very basic. There wasn't really much to go on, but
any fans of that game, let us know. I never played it.
The voice acting was god awful.
Oh, I bet.
It was worse than this podcast. I mean, it was just
that's pretty bad then.
It was so bad. But that one I managed to finish because I was captivated, for one, having like what I thought was the best system on the market at the time. So like anything that I got for it, I was like, this is so cool.
That's cool.
Super Nintendo still
now I want to play it.
Outdid it 100%.
I feel like I need to play that now. So
I'll put it on an emulator for you. I think I may have a ROM for it. That's
all right.
If I'm allowed to say that on this. Shh.
ROM, what's that?
Right.
So
yeah, that's basically all I have for. I mean, you said Quest, and I was going to mention that as one of the worst RPGs, and same with this one. I'm sure there's a hell of a lot worse than those.
Yeah, there is.
For me, that's hands down.
Right.
So
and we can't do an episode about RPGs and not mention the Might and Magic series. Obviously,
I played the first one on the Genesis.
Oh, okay. Which one?
I think it was Might and Magic 3.
3
was the one I played on the Genesis.
Okay. Because there's a lot of Might and Magic, guys.
Yeah, I think it was Might and Magic 3. My buddy Kevin Smith had it at his house. Wow. It was like the first time I'd ever seen a Genesis. But it had that Dungeon Magic, NES Dungeon Magic feel, where you had the screen here, and then there's stuff.
Is that considered a dungeon crawler?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't remember much about it because I didn't play a lot of it. But that's when you mentioned the game. That's a fond memory that I have. I played it for about an hour, and there's dialogue on the bottom, and that's really all I had with that one. But I've heard a lot of good things about Might and Magic.
Right. Well, my favorite Might and Magic, the first Might and Magic that I played game was World of Zine. And I've mentioned it before.
I didn't know that was a Might and Magic game.
It is, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I recently took that to Fallout games, and they buffed it for me and all that because it was so scratched.
I was there. I remember that.
It came with 2 discs. It was a PC game.
Mm-hmm.
I played it obviously on well, it was DOS and so Windows back then.
Didn't you get it on Steam too later? Or is it on Steam?
Well, you got me that. I think it is, but you got me that. What's that program called where you can play those old games?
Was it DOSBox or?
Yeah, it was something like that. I had to get a CD-ROM reader because
Scum VM. That's another.
I think
one.
it was Scum.
Okay.
So I played it through that again, and man, all the memories started flooding back. That my friend Robert had that the hacker buddy I talked about on the other the episode. But World of Zine introduced me to that first-person perspective dungeon crawler type screen by screen.
Oh, that wasn't
RPG.
Like Immortal, right?
No, so it was, you walk forward. It was like,
okay.
Right.
Wizardry was like that too.
Yeah, and you turn left, and then if you see an enemy, you try to run, and you go left or whatever, and you turn back. They're like kind of behind you. It was kind of crazy. And I remember, but there was a lot of cheats in that game where you can just type in. So there was like this magic mirror thing, and it had a snake on it. And I remember when you went up to it and said, "Where to?" That's what he would say. That was weird.
Horrible voice acting.
Yeah, he would like teleport you or whatever to different parts of the land. And I guess it was Zine, but the last guy was called Lord Zine or Wizard Zine. He was like evil wizard guy. He looked like a typical, villain back then. Skeleton guy with horns, whatever. He was like a evil wizard or whatever. So you would type in like I remember one in particular. You would type in Shangri-La, and it was a place where you can just level up your characters really quick.
Okay.
And it wasn't a cheat. It was more of a shortcut because you were meant to discover this place later in the game, but you can get all these up front if you wanted to. And there was a few. I had to look them up because I forgot. Like there was one that was called. The code was "I lost it." It gives the Zine Slayer sword right away. That was like the main weapon,
OP.
right? So you could beat the last guy.
Yeah.
You can actually warp right to the last guy if you just type in Lord Zine or Bogus. It would take you to the last guy like this.
That's cool.
So to me, that was insane because, like I said, I started on Nintendo. There was nothing like that really. You could just type in stuff and it takes you somewhere. Besides cheat codes and all that, or extra min.
Game Genie.
Right, Game Genie. And I remember Count Do Money. That was the most important one because it warps you to a spot and you get like gold, and you could just level up really fast with all these, and then you were pretty much OP for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I didn't find... Well, I would say fortunately, because I got to enjoy the game. I didn't know all that until later on, until after I beat it. So that was one of my favorite RPGs, and it's strictly an RPG on PC of all time.
It sounds like a very old school.
It's very old school. Very old school, but I had to mention that game.
Bard's Tale was similar to that as far as old school because of the screen thing.
Right.
I played a game like that on Super Nintendo called Arcana.
Yeah. I remember Arcana.
I loved that game. I finished it.
I rented it. I never owned it.
I picked it up at a place locally that doesn't exist anymore called Rockaway Records. It was just a random... I don't know, the chick on the front with like a sword or something, and I was like, I want to try that. That looks kind of cool. Yeah. We judged a book by its cover back then, so.
Yeah. You're kind of cut off on camera a little bit.
Am I?
If you want to shift a little this way. There you go. That's better. You can see your both your buff arms now.
So
like our picture.
Arcana was kind of weird. Like when you were in town, I remember it side scrolling. And your characters were like playing cards, like Magic the Gathering almost.
That's cool.
And
it was a digital card game.
Each dungeon that you went into was different every single time, like randomly generated. And
that's fun.
If I'm not mistaken. And it was that first person view. You go
like screen by screen.
Yeah. And then, if you run into a monster and you try to run away, they're behind you still. And
right.
If you don't get away from them, they still attack you from behind.
Right.
So,
and then they're in front of you. You have no choice but to fight them.
That and Wizardry was another one, but that one was more like black and white.
Yes, Wizardry.
I liked that game.
Yeah,
it was complicated, but
it was. It was. What's that other hard game, man? It was Nintendo. It was like one of the quintessential dungeon crawlers.
Well, Dungeon Magic was one of them.
Yeah,
it was kind of like that. And then there's
some of
Ultima.
those. Yeah,
Ultima
some of those, honestly, they turned me off, man. I was just like, this is too much.
Well, Ultima wasn't really a dungeon crawler, but it was a very archaic, pixelated.
Right.
Kind of hard to.
You got to start somewhere.
Right. I mean, it did well on the PC in the 80s.
Right.
I mean, the creator made his entry to Ultima on a freaking printer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Every time the page would print, it would show the character moved like a space or whatever if you fed it some information. So, I mean, that was kind of cool.
And then while we're in this kind of like the D&D, old school RPGs, Baldur's Gate, but then the one that really had an enormous impact on the genre was Neverwinter Nights.
I never played that.
Yeah, that's crazy because
I watched my buddy John play it, but I never played that one.
It was very popular amongst that group of people, that genre, because it was like, whoa. And again, like Baldur's Gate, they came out with an enhanced edition. It looks amazing. I actually saw some videos on it. I haven't played it yet, but I was like, whoa. It's worth playing. I think play the enhanced edition, if anything. Then it'll make you appreciate what the game was meant to be, And I'm saying meant to be because I'm thinking of Skyrim now. Because I played the first Skyrim on Xbox 360. It's an amazing game. Obviously, people still play it. Very popular. Millions sold, right?
I mean, it's been remade for like every even newer generation system. So
I mean, those guys at Bethesda must have made so much money off of that. But when the VR came out on PS4, it just, oh my goodness, it blew me away.
I played it at your house.
Yeah.
It gave me a headache.
yeah.
It was cool, though.
A lot of people, some people can't handle it because it's just, but, when you're like making your potions and stuff, you see your hand, you're moving everything, and you're doing it with the VR, you're like, and everything's popping out at you. You're like, wow, this is how it was meant to be. And especially shooting the arrows. I mean, you actually make the motion with the two sticks, and
I
then
remember
you
you
click.
showing me that.
And it was really accurate. I was very impressed.
Especially with like the force feedback the vibration that you get it makes it feel like it's supposed to.
That game, and I put so many hours. Still haven't did the platinum on it because there is platinum PS4 because it's on there. The only ones I have left is become a criminal or something like that in every kingdom. Which you have to go to jail in every one. I was leaving it for last because that sucks. Everybody's like after you. You're like, dang. Yeah. And then you have to escape and all that. And then the last trophy was kill or destroy a legendary dragon, which that's after you do that when you beat the game. But it's been years. I just kind of left it at that because I played it so much. And I remember my favorite outfit that I got and worked on for so long was the Nightingale outfit. It was kind of like the elite thief kind of thing. If you played that game, and it's all black and scaly, it looks, I mean, that game is just, Skyrim is one of my number ones, especially VR. I couldn't believe it.
You put so much time into a game, sometimes you just have to walk away. But then when you come back, you don't remember half the crap that you're supposed to do.
Yeah, it's almost like you want to live in there. You're just like...
That takes me back to that movie Ready Player One with the Oasis.
Yeah. It was like that.
I'm surprised we're not there yet. I mean, in the 90s, they had VR booths in like the malls and stuff. I remember.
Oh yeah,
they were like these circular pods that you could stand in, and the graphics sucked ass back then. But
remember, like movies like Lawnmower Man.
Yeah,
that was the VR was a whole thing back then in the 90s, and
we just weren't there yet.
We weren't there yet, but our brains were imagining all this thing. We're like, wow, that's cool. That's actually possible.
It's crazy. We are finally there.
We are there,
but it hasn't taken off. I think it's because people can't handle it.
I think that's what it is, because when VR came out, I thought that would be like the number one go-to for gaming.
Yeah.
It's not.
Mm-mm.
It's almost like it's just like a thing to do on the side or like a luxury, but people still go to the meat and potatoes.
We don't have flying cars yet. Once we have flying
Exactly.
cars, then, you
Yeah.
know, we'll be there.
Like, you know, the Oculus and all that. Like, you know, I'm a pinball fan too. And
They're waiting for all of us oldies to die off that, you know, held the controller in our hand from
That's right.
the last 40 years. So
yeah.
once that happens, then these new kids will be like, oh, just get a chip in your brain and then you have a pair of goggles and now you're in the oasis.
Right. Like there's this thing where
Make sure you eat.
yeah, like I'm a pinball fan and not super fan, but I like pinball because it brings back good memories and all that. They have the VR thing where it's like a virtual arcade and you can pick any game to load. And it's like you're in that room, in the arcade room, and you can go to any pinball machine you,
like,
want.
Push the buttons.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like.
And it has the haptic feedback.
That's
and
cool.
They even got the, it's like this thing that goes against your wall that has the actual flipper buttons. So while you wear the glasses, you have this thing that you're feeling.
Oh, I've seen that. Okay.
Yeah, and it's
just a little short.
Yeah, and it makes you feel like you're actually playing it.
That's right. I've seen that.
Freaking awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, so
There's a side quest, kids.
there is, but I had to mention that because that's just amazing.
So,
But RPGs, back to that.
So I got here. What are some games that you remember playing, but you don't remember much about the story, or really, you know, you might know the name of the game, but you don't really. You'd have to go back and revisit it to kind of like
RPG?
Yeah.
I would say Lufia.
Same.
Because, yeah, that was one of my favorite ones, and I remember my friend Muhammad had it, and he was my best buddy back then, or we just called him Mo. And I remember being the kid that I was, you know, I was like, man, Lufia, what is that? It's all about Final Fantasy and this and that. He's like, no, bro, it's actually good. I'm like, nah. I was kind of making fun of him. And he actually lent it to me, and I was like enamored with it. I loved it.
So from what I remember,
the first one anyway.
What I remember about that game is, first of all, I rented it.
Okay.
And started a new character, new game, whatever. And then it started me off at like max level or whatever, because it starts you off in the past. But I didn't know it. So going through doing
you're like OP from the beginning.
Yeah, basically
you're like,
going through the final dungeon. You get to the final boss or whatever, and you beat the game. But then
I like games that do that.
Yeah, I was like, did I start the game or did I play somebody else's game? I wasn't sure. But then then it, you know, cuts to the story.
Right.
Like you're in the future now, and
it explains to you.
I think you're a descendant of one of the heroes or something like that. And most of them, if not all of them, are still alive at present time.
Yeah.
And you get to meet some of them as within like the first or second town. But that's literally all I remember about that game.
So I did look it up and kind of refreshed, right? And the enemies were called, or the villains, or the protagonist, or whatever, they were called the Sinistrals.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And this came out in 93.
That in the second one as well.
Yeah, 93. And you know who made that game? Which game developer? It was Taito, one of my favorite.
That's right.
Because I love Pyros, and you know that was mentioned in another episode, I think. Or actually, no, we still need to mention that, but I'll save it for another time. Taito's one of my favorite game developers. They had some of my favorite games. But
they've made a lot of different types of games too.
Yeah, so Lufia, the first one, it was called, well, at least in the United States, it was called Fortress of Doom, and it came out in 93. And
another
the
game
SNES,
I rented from Video Update.
Yeah. And that was just the SNES, right? I don't know if it came out for anything else or
I don't know.
Cuz
everything usually came out on a computer at one time or another, but who knows?
Cuz people online and all that, every time I look it up, they say, "Oh, part 2 is way better," and you know, they only talk about part 2. But Lufia, I never played part 2.
I think that one was called Rise of the Sinistrals, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it was.
The journey is what you remember the most. Just kidding.
Because the journey is usually what you remember anyways. Anyway,
what else?
Might play that. But the thing...
That's a Miley Cyrus joke, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen it online somewhere, or Instagram especially. But it was like a bird's eye view, pretty standard. But I
Still
remember
talking about Lufia.
Lufia still.
Okay.
The dialogue was really engaging, and the thing I didn't like about it, and it's just a minor kind of pick, but or gripe, was the characters were in squares, and so the enemies were up here, and you had like 40 your party, and it had all your stats and all that. And when you fought, I mean, they were like still in the squares, almost like you were in a menu screen, but they were fighting, and you would hit, and they would just move a little bit, and that was about all for the action.
Yeah.
But it wasn't about that, obviously.
Very basic.
It was basic, turn-based.
Good story, though.
Yeah, great story, and the soundtrack was awesome. And I remember in the middle, there was like this command cross, like you would, the top was magic, or this was attack, and you would just kind of pick what you want to do for each. And it would highlight the square of the character you were on, and the enemies were up here. Mm-hmm. I think max maybe 4 per screen or something like that. So it was very basic, but for some reason, that game just played very nicely. It was easy to play. It was pleasurable.
Yeah, it didn't require you to like grind for hours to get to the next area.
It did. Yeah.
You didn't have to. It wasn't Dragon Warrior or Dragon Quest.
Yeah,
it was a little easier to play.
Yeah, my biggest gripe, but it's needed because you needed to, like you said, level up. The encounter rate of enemies was super high. You could hardly.
Well, that was
walk.
Dragon Warrior as well.
Yeah, you could hardly walk an inch. Like another fight.
Yep.
It was crazy.
That's why we had the Game Genie kids.
Yeah, but enough about Lufia. That was just, I think that one's underrated in my opinion because nobody ever talks about that game.
No, they don't. That's a good one.
Yeah.
For me, I don't remember much about this. I played maybe halfway through it, but it was so hard. I think you mentioned that you finished it, or your sister, the 7th Saga.
Oh, man.
I'm
so glad you brought that up.
It's such a hard game. It was great, though.
That's why I love this guy, because he brings back... I was like, yes. My sister loved that game, but I played it first and beat it, and then she got into it afterwards.
I got almost halfway through it, I think, but I only rented that one.
Yeah. Super Nintendo.
There was so many good RPGs on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah. 7 Saga was amazing. It took a while, and it was a little aggravating, but it's one of those games that you wanted to put that grinding in because you wanted to beat it.
I mean, the story was great.
It was.
You just died a lot.
Yeah. I remember it's coming back to me now. There was like the elf mage girl lady. Mm-hmm. I used her a lot. And then some of those enemies were just super hard.
Yeah.
And I remember it repeated a lot. Like there was like a certain type of enemy, but they just changed color or so whatever, and they were stronger. It kind of
those colors.
Yeah, it recycled a lot.
That's an inside joke, by the way.
Yeah, Rich.
I mean, there was a lot of.
I'll play that video actually.
Okay, there was a lot of hard enemies on. Was it Final Fantasy 13-2 or 13 that you had mentioned?
Yeah. So Final Fantasy.
We're going to be all over the place on this video.
Obviously,
by the way, guys.
Final Fantasy is one that we were going to mention, and we're going to mention because everybody knows that. Okay, 13.
I don't care what you say. 3 is the best. 6,
yes.
3.
I have a good story about that later on, but Final Fantasy 13 stuck out to me because it really didn't concentrate on exploring at all. Hardly. It was very linear. You would go through it's 3D. Obviously, you're behind the character. At least the camera is. And her name was Lightning, obviously the main character, which was pretty badass in my opinion. Yes.
PS3 kids.
Right here. And I still need to play Final Fantasy 13-2, which Ricky got
that one
for me. Thanks, Ricky. But I played it on the 13 on the Xbox 360. This is back in 2006, I remember, or 7, around when I bought my first house. And man, so the best part about that game, okay, and some of you RPG fans might not even like it because of this, because it's
the linear aspect of it.
Right, and it doesn't really concentrate on exploring at all. It's more focused on the fighting. which was really unique to me. It actually turned me off at first. I'm like, oh, this is stupid, because I'm used to, I love Zelda and whatever, figuring out puzzles, and there's zero puzzles. Okay.
I mean, if you go back to the Guardian War for the 3DO, it's basically the same thing. You know, you go forward, you beat the zone. You go forward, you beat the zone.
That's all it is. But it worked on the mechanic of paradigms. So you would actually, there was like 4 or 5 different slots that you would fill in for. It's kind of hard to explain, like the order that each person goes, what type of, do you put your magic users first, then the warriors second? Who does this? Who does that? Those were called paradigms. If you look up the meaning of paradigm, it kind of makes sense. So you would have to use certain paradigms to get ahead and actually beat certain bosses and enemies, or else you would just die. You would...
So if you don't know what you're doing, you're dead already.
Yeah. You would select certain paradigm combinations in order to advance forward, or else you would just be dead. I remember the last guy. He was like this priest / automaton machine thing, which was freaking horrific. He was so hard. I spent probably a month or 2, almost every other day, trying to just play and beat him, and finally did.
Oh wow!
It's one of those.
Telling me that you were so frustrated.
That was one of the Final Fantasies that, where a boss took forever. And I'm going to point out again, Final Fantasy VII, the remake, where
the platinum one, that was insane, kids.
That was I'm actually proud of myself. Okay, I platinumed that. That was hard. It took months. So there's this part in Final Fantasy VII where you go in. It's this like kind of like a simulator in the game where you have to fight enemies, but it's part of the game to advance. So they make you fight like a lot of the summons back to back, and then the last guy is called Pride and Joy Prototype.
Oh, damn.
Okay, this guy was the hardest. Oh my gosh.
Did you play it with the new battle system or the old school like turn-based? Because I know you can switch between those.
No, it was the new battle system type. So you had to work on you had to have your timing perfect. So while you're attacking over here, you had to have Aerith cast a spell ahead of time, like some protection thing at the right time for you to get ahead in the fight. And then you had to have Tifa charge up her special thing at a certain time to make it all work. I mean, this thing was super complicated to get it done.
Did you look up a help on this, or did you just figure it out?
I did. I looked up videos and all that, but you know what? It didn't help, because it was one of those things where you just had to actually do it. It's not like, oh, you just know how to do this and press the button. No. It was actually skill that you had to have to beat this guy.
It's because you're not Asian.
Right?
They're the best at video games.
Yeah. So that's
not a racist comment. That's the truth.
And they make the best video games.
Yeah,
I mean, Japan is awesome. So that's why we have memories, because of Japan and everything. Right. So, once I got that platinum and I saw it pop up, I was like, "Go!" It was like the best thing ever. I mean, such an accomplishment, right?
Dopamine high.
Right. Nobody really cared. I did. I felt like I conquered the world.
Right.
So anyway, I had to mention that.
So for me, like some games that I don't remember much about, also 360 Blue Dragon. It was made by the creator of Chrono Trigger, which is top 5.
Love Chrono Trigger.
Top 5 for me, 100%.
Yes.
Great game. But yeah, I remember owning it from day one. I remember playing it for probably about 5 to 10 hours is what I put into it. But for the life of me, I don't know if it was the time of my life, because I was in a bad spot, if you remember back then. So, but I don't remember any of the battles. I don't remember any of the story, the towns. I don't remember. I just remember owning it and playing it. So, same with Grandia 3.
Never played that.
I know the front cover. I remember enjoying it, but it was around the same time frame that I owned that. And same with Odin Sphere, which I just reacquired thanks to this guy. That one, I know it's a 2D side scroller where you level up, and I remember that one being super awesome. That's why I was like, dude, if you find this in the wild, grab it for me. And then
Right.
Xenogears was kind of like almost like a turn-based Street Fighter kind of game, because you would do combos on the controller to do special moves, like
Right.
half circle, square, because it was a PS1 game. But so those are some good mentions for me that I don't remember much about. There's a few more, but we got to move on because we could talk about all of this crap for
I mean,
like days.
RPGs, and there's not as many as you would think, because I looked up I don't know, on this one site it said like every RPG ever made, pretty much.
There's thousands if you include like PC and
Well,
other
yeah, but I would say ones that people have played or
real mainstream.
right, or not just one or two people played, right? But that's more than that, obviously. And then our daughter's boyfriend just got me Oblivion because he, I'm a Skyrim fan. I've never played Oblivion,
I love Oblivion.
and he was like, "What the heck? You never played it?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Oblivion, I bought the remastered one on Steam a couple of years, or was it last year that it came out? I think it came out last year. Love it.
What, the like remastered one? Or
Yeah,
whatever?
the updated graphics and all that.
I'm excited, man. That's one that I want to play too.
Yeah, they did a good job on it. I'm
So,
like
what
100.
would you say? Which one's better? I mean, Skyrim or Oblivion?
I've never played Skyrim. I know. I've never played Skyrim. Only at your house.
That's
on
it?
VR.
Wow,
That's it.
crazy.
They're
Okay.
so
That's new to me.
gameplay wise, Morrowind, Skyrim, and Oblivion all are similar as far as like how you move around, if I'm not mistaken, how you create your character. It's just one's more advanced than the other.
So Skyrim came out afterwards, though, right?
Yeah, it's a continuation from
okay.
Oblivion, if
So it's
I'm not
based
mistaken.
on Oblivion, though. Okay. See, that since it's a prequel, I have to. I'm obligated to play it.
It's really good. It's just as long as Skyrim. I mean, I'm 100 hours in right now, and I haven't even touched the main quest. I had to do everything else. I became a thief in the Thieves Guild. I did all those quests, and then
me too.
and then I became a Dark Brotherhood guy. You can do
Yup.
these same quests.
Became a
and
nightingale. And,
I got the horse, the best horse in the game or whatever, from murdering people essentially. And
are you talking about the vampiric horse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
so that's in Oblivion as well. I know it's in Skyrim also.
Yeah.
And then
the character, your partner, that's the one I stuck with, was the vampire lady. Mm-hmm. She was the best one in my opinion. The first one always got stuck in Lost. I would have to go get her or reset the game and get her back. There was a big glitch in that in Skyrim, where if you left her behind, like she was stuck on she couldn't hop up to a cliff or something like you were, and she would just go like this, and then
Secret of Mana did that for the Super Nintendo. If you went too far ahead from your characters, like they'd get stuck on a rock and they're trying to run,
and they're gone.
You have to go get them.
Yeah, and if you don't, they're gone.
Right.
But they do respawn at a certain point. You can look it up. They fixed it later where you can retrieve them and stuff. But that was super I was like, no, where is she? Because the first one I got was like the normal, I don't know. I'm talking about Skyrim now still, is that warrior lady. She looked like Xena, the warrior princess or something.
I've seen bits and pieces of all that stuff.
Yeah. But we're still on RPGs, this RPG guys that we're talking about, and we can't not mention Witcher. So
I've never played The Witcher either.
the first Witcher that I played was part 3, which was pretty recent. I would say maybe 10 years ago.
When we built your PC,
yes,
you got that.
That was I had a bad power supply, so it kept
2020.
resetting. But anyway,
that was a COVID time right there.
it was COVID time. Witcher 3. And then when I mentioned this to Rich, our buddy, and all that, he's like, "Oh, you need to play part 1 and 2." I played it later on Steam. Just wasn't the same.
Not as good.
It was like, point and click, clunky. 3 was just boom. It was like Skyrim style.
It's third person, right? Is it first person?
It's first person, but the camera's behind, Geralt, or the main guy. And my wife and I watched the show too before it just went to total crap, and the main character.
We watched
left.
the first season.
Yeah, the first season was amazing,
Mm-hmm.
but it stuck to like the lore of the game and all, and then afterwards it just went crazy, so we stopped watching because it's like didn't really stick to the game. So part 3, Wild Hunt, the story was amazing. That's why they made a show out of it, because it's a really good story and very expansive map and world. And, the combat was very easy to learn. And it wasn't like, it was just like maybe I could compare it to Zelda or any other game where you just go up to the guys and you start fighting. There's no turn-based, nothing. But while you're fighting,
So it's Breath of the Wild or
right. But while you're
Skyrim.
fighting, what made it a little hard was you have to pick okay, I'm running out of life. Kind of like Diablo. Get a potion, do this, stay alive, get this, right, while you're fighting. So you had to multitask. Some people may find that a little challenging or whatever. But my favorite part was the alchemy, aspect of it, where you can just make your own potions. And Witcher 3, you can really buff up your guy. I mean, you can keep going. You can almost get OP early in the game, which was really cool if you knew what you were doing.
Right.
I loved it.
You mentioned Diablo. Diablo 3 is my favorite Diablo game.
Yeah.
Me and him and our buddy Rich that we talk about all the time, we played the 4th one online and we finished the first season, but we never went back to it for some reason.
I actually bought this guy the special edition for like $99.99,
and I bought it for Rich.
Yeah, so we could all play. It was a group effort.
It was fun though. I mean, I liked 4. Honestly, I really do. I would go back and play it again for sure.
Yeah,
but
especially
3,
with all the seasons they come up with, it keeps changing the game, making it more interesting.
But I could play 3 for days.
Yeah,
even
3,
still, like
3's still my favorite. I mean,
I tried 2, and I don't know. It's just too barbaric for me.
Right.
I don't like it.
It is. It's a little archaic. Like Ricky, and funny story with Diablo 3. So we were playing, and we had our Andy Caps hot fries that we were eating because that's our gaming snack. If you've ever had that, they're super salty and spicy. Freaking awesome. Okay.
Especially for you stoners out there.
Exactly. You eat them, and they're so like small and like crispy and fluffy that you go through a whole bag very easy. But they're gaming snacks or whatever. And I drank a lot back then. I'm a little bit now, but nothing like I was before. We were playing all day and all night, and I got so tired and I didn't want to stop. And
you told me about this.
Yeah. And Ricky told me, he's like, dude, he woke me up because apparently what happened, I got so tired. I was drinking all day and eating so many hot fries. I passed out, and we were like belly to the carpet, facing the screen, old school gaming style.
Were you playing it on Switch or?
No, we weren't on the Switch.
Because it came out on
PlayStation,
like, PS3.
I think.
Came out on I think it was even on 360, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we were playing it on PlayStation.
Okay.
So I actually fell asleep, guys, during playing, and apparently my character was just like standing in one spot and just shooting at the wall.
That's funny.
That's what happened. And Ricky turned to me. He's like, "What the heck, dude?" I'm like, "Oh, sorry." Like, I actually fell asleep. That's how hardcore we were, just going all night playing this game. But great memories with with Ricky and gaming with that game.
How many times did was it you or Rich or all 3 of us in Diablo 4 like got stuck on like a table and then
You guys took screenshots of it,
it was
or
like,
Rich did. I got stuck in a freaking cabinet.
That's what it was, like a
a
cabinet or bookshelf or whatever, and you lagged out. We had to like start over or whatever.
Yeah, I kept getting stuck, and I was like, "What the heck? I'm finding all the bugs."
Yeah, we would. Yeah, because it was the first season.
Yeah.
So he would lag out, and on our end, it would show him like, in a cabinet, like he's doing some sort of a jig.
I was like Han Solo in the carbonite, just stuck, frozen.
So we would take, screenshots and text it. Hey Nate, you're kind of stuck here.
There's like
laughing at each other.
Nate yesterday.
Richie probably has all those saved in his phone. We'll have to get those so we
Probably.
can pop them up on the
That was
screen.
freaking hilarious. And I was always the one getting sucked.
Yeah.
But that was fun. I wish we would have played that more. We did beat it all the way. We got to Lilith and
Well,
you
you
know,
and I did. Richie never did.
That's right. He kind of. I remember the hardest characters in part 4 or bosses to me was that one priest guy and the
Den
wolf,
mother.
the den mother.
Jeez.
That was, oh my! And she was what near the beginning of the game.
Yeah, I remember like we both died like 5 times.
Yeah.
And we were screaming in the microphones like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
This boss should have been later in the game. They put her like right up front, and it was. I guess they just did that for fun, but I remember her being super freaking hard.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was a fun game.
But anyway, yeah. All right, Dan, you talk a little bit here. I felt like I took up a lot of audio real estate here.
Well, so we don't have a game of the week this week, so we'll just skip that one. And did you buy anything this week? Do you have any pickups? I know you didn't bring any with you, but
I didn't buy anything recently, no. I would think you did because you're always buying games.
yeah. So
There we go. Share
went
with
to-
the audience.
I went to Fallout Games. I usually go there a couple times a month because it's right by my work. The one in Mesa. No, we're not sponsored. Maybe we will be someday. We keep talking about them. But my buddy Rich works there, and he knows that I like shooter games. I like RPGs, but I do like shoot 'em ups. And I also like weird games. Like,
Obscure, maybe. Not common.
so how do I describe it? Like Stray. Stray would be considered kind of like an obscure kind of game, which I'm actually currently playing. Almost finished with it. Great game, by the way.
My sister recommended this too. She just beat it, and she said she cried at the end. Apparently, it's a sad story.
Also not an RPG, but anyways, side quest.
Side quest.
I like weird games as long as they're good, because you never know if you could play a weird game and it's gonna be like super great or it's gonna be complete and utter dog shit. So you just never know, and that's the cool thing about it. But anyways, so I picked up this game called Ace of Seafood because Rich was like, dude, you like shooters, you should try this. It's pretty cool. And I was like, okay.
You wouldn't think that's a shooter
And there's nothing on the back.
because of the name of it.
Right.
I thought you would like cook stuff.
So I didn't, it was $20 and I'm looking at it going, okay, I've never heard of it. It's a limited run game. And for $20, I had an extra $20. So I was like, oh.
Tell us a little bit about that game. 'Cause I know nothing about
So
it.
I came home. I haven't played it yet. I watched a video.
okay.
I watched a video on it though because I wanted to know what the hell I just bought. And you're a fish,
Yeah.
and you control a school of fish behind you, and you're basically just trying to take control of the sea. And your fish shoot lasers.
Oh, yeah. You
So-
told me a little bit about that. That's so weird.
I'm like, okay, this could be good. It's kind of open world 3D ish because you're in the sea.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe it's area based. If from what I've seen, I could be wrong, but you start off by picking the type of fish that you want to be, and you just have like a party of fish that you go through, and you just shoot crap. You kill sea creatures to control the sea. So once I play it, we'll do a little update on that. But that was my pickup for the week. And
You're into ocean games lately because he said,
Subnautica.
hey, you got to get Subnautica.
Subnautica Below Zero is fantastic. I platinum.
You
that.
actually got me that game. I haven't played it yet,
Okay.
but still sealed.
I'm excited for the new one coming out this year.
Yeah.
So that'll be in an updated episode. But yeah, that's my recent pickup, and I covered. I'm still playing the same games I was playing in the last episode, but I also forgot to mention that I was playing Stray, and I recently was able to find some time to play that for a few hours, and I think I'm almost done with it. So I have a couple trophies left on it, and I'm on like the 10th chapter. I think there's 12 chapters in that game, so I'm on like part 10.
Yes. So
So
This
that was
is-
our little side quest.
Not really. I mean, it's it's relevant. So I did want to mention two more for RPGs. So when we're talking about RPGs, recent games, Octopath Traveler. I mean,
Did you start 0 yet?
I haven't. I'm going to.
I
Work has been crazy, so it hasn't.
I
been-
installed Fantavision. Oh
What?
God, Fantasian. That's what it's called.
Oh yeah, you showed
yeah,
me that.
Fantasian.
I've seen
Neo
that.
Dimension. It was created by the original Final Fantasy guy and the composer Nobuo Uematsu, I think is.
Okay.
So
So the music's awesome.
Basically, the two original people that made Final Fantasy the gem that it is
Gotcha.
created that. So
Well,
definitely, I'm going to start that as soon as I beat Stray.
That's worth playing for sure.
So sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're good. Octopath 1 and 2, I did beat those. As soon as 2 came out, I played that too. So the thing I like about it is, it's a little tilt-shifted art style, kind of a Super Nintendo NES,
Like
SNES
the 2 1/4
look.
view.
Yeah. And it has that old school charm, and but it does have those modern aspects that make it like really super beautiful, like just the way it looks.
It takes a little bit from the older PS1 game Saga Frontier.
Does it?
Yeah,
I've never played that.
Where you start, it lets you pick a character and you play that character's story, and then you choose another character, and eventually you all meet up, and all your stories are kind of like intertwined.
Yeah.
It does that on Octopath, right? If I'm
Yeah,
not
and it's
mistaken.
really cool. You can actually pick who you want the story to be with your character. There's 8 of them. You can pick whoever you want to kind of complete their story. So you can essentially play it 8 times, and it's kind of a different game. Not
Right.
really, but I thought I picked the thief right away because that's like my go-to for every RPG. I don't know. I just like thieves and whatever.
He doesn't steal in real life, though.
I
kids.
don't.
It's okay.
I don't. I just think they're cool. If I had like a past life or something, maybe I was back in the day. I don't know. But
He dreams of stealing cars, but he
Yeah.
doesn't actually do it.
so the battle system is like turn-based. A lot of timing in it.
That's my
too.
favorite type of RPG, by the way, turn-based.
Yes, exactly.
I do like a little bit of the strategy kind. where,
Right.
it's got the squares, and you can only, if you move like 3 spaces, then your enemy can move forward or whatever. I like some of those as well. But
Right.
sorry, continue.
No, you're good. You're good. I agree with you. And the thing about this too, there's the 8 classes or whatever, base jobs they call them. So you can be a warrior, scholar, merchant, thief, cleric, dancer, hunter, or apothecary, which is really cool. To me, that's very diverse. I mean, there's a lot to do. So when you have your party, I mean, you can only have like, I think 4 at a time, but you can keep switching them out. And this game is just beautiful. I mean, it's simple, like a Super Nintendo graphic style, but when you're in the villages and things, I mean, they do like overlays or like modern graphics over like the classic. I would say maybe 16-bit, 8-bit.
I like how it zooms in and out too. Like when
Yeah.
you get close to her, when you get closer to like a building, doesn't it kind of zoom in a little bit?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's really cool.
I played it for the Octopath 1 for about an hour,
Okay.
but I only played it in handheld mode on the Switch, and because of my vision issues, it's so small. Like I'm like this trying to read the freaking hit points, and because it's tiny. So
Yeah.
I need to play that on the TV so that I can actually see it.
Yeah.
But from what I did play, it was pretty good.
That's cool. Yeah, I definitely recommend that one. I still need to play 0, which is the prequel to 1 and 2. But also, one last one that I want to mention, Bravely Default.
I knew you were going to mention that.
Yeah, Bravely Default 2 is the only one I played, okay? But
I just picked up the first one for the 3DS, actually.
that was the original, right?
Yeah.
Because from what I read, you really don't need to play that one to... I think they're totally different stories, so which I was glad with it. It's a JRPG for sure. It's
You recommended. I actually bought that for the Switch.
Oh, okay.
so that I could play it after you would beat it, and you're like, dude, you need to play this game.
Now, the only thing about this game that was really weird, when you're in the overworld and when you're in a town walking around, it's beautiful, right? But when you're fighting and when there's dialogue between the characters, it cheapens the graphics. It's weird. Like, they're all like bobblehead style, and the graphics are just kind of weird. You're
Does
like,
it go to like PS1s?
yeah, it just doesn't fit the aesthetic of the rest of it. So I thought that was
Wow.
really
For
weird.
how much praise you gave
I
that
know.
game. I was like,
I was
not expecting
surprised.
that.
I don't know why that happens, but the game itself is really good. The bosses are super challenging, though. I mean, that could take you like a week just to beat one dude.
Okay.
So that type of stuff. But what I liked about it is the grinding is actually rewarding. It's not boring. Since it was on the Switch that I was playing, I just kind of went on the couch and grinded while I was watching like YouTube videos. But it's that type of thing, and totally recommend that game. Really fun. So
we can't not talk about one of the greatest RPGs ever made, besides Chrono Trigger. Out of all of what we've talked about, we can't not mention one of the greatest RPGs ever made, in my opinion, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that would agree with me, besides Chrono Trigger, because that also is way, way up there at the top. Final Fantasy III, we mentioned earlier.
Oh, yeah.
6 in Japan. I had a buddy ask me, Patrick, the other day in a text message. He was like, what makes that game so great? And a lot of things. I mean, the story, the music, every single character had their own theme song. Every single character in that game had its own backstory.
You got to have Sid in there, too.
Yeah, I mean,
You know?
the story throughout for the entire game was just... It was just like event after event. You did something with a couple of these characters, and then you're over here doing something with a couple of these characters, and then
Super polished.
they all meet up and become friends. Here we go again with the stupid light.
Yeah. Hey, it lasted longer
Hey,
this
yeah,
time,
I was gonna
though.
say, oh, I think there's a short in the cable. Look at that, because all I did was move it. Anyways, so
Oh.
welcome to the 21st century where everything's made in China, kids.
We'll upgrade soon.
Anyways, so your characters meet, become friends, and then you meet more and more and more as the game goes on, and then you're fighting this evil force that's just trying to take over the entire world and disrupt the balance of the crystals. And he kills. It's like the Emperor's like right-hand man.
Yeah.
And then so you're going up against the Empire or Empire, whatever. And
Same
then
thing.
once you get to him, he ends up like, oh, this guy's actually the bad guy, my right-hand man. His name was Kefka.
Mm-hmm.
And so you defeat basically the Emperor, and now you're going after Kefka because he's like, screw this guy. I want world domination. So, I mean, I can't say enough about how well developed the story was for that game, for sure. And I could not stop playing it when I actually called out of school one time sick just so I could play more of that game.
Yeah. I remember, so the beginning of that game, correct me if I'm wrong, is so it showed all the characters walking in
Like
those
on robots.
those mechs,
Yeah.
right? I was like, what the heck? And that's not new for Final Fantasy, but it was for me because it was part 3. Now, all the mechs and stuff were very common later in the other installments.
I actually thought it was a continuation from 5, which we never got until like I was an adult.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
Right. So, well, expanding on that, I played with one of my best friends back then, Victor. He already beat the game.
Mm-hmm.
And this was before a cell phone, guys. Like, well, only certain people had cell phones, if you can afford one. But we were just on the landline on speaker or whatever.
With the cord that goes
Yep.
all the way across the living room.
Yeah, and he loved it so much that he was willing to replay the game with me as a new player so he can guide me through it.
You guys play over the phone?
Over the phone.
For hours?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like, all right, dude, get over here, go here, get this. And so it was a pretty easy experience for me because he already knew the game and stuff. But man, what a good game.
Dude, see, when the day that I called out of school, or had my mom call me out of school, I faked being sick so that I could stay home and play this. I thought I was at the end.
One of those guys.
Because, it was after you beat the Emperor, and then, Kefka's trying to do his thing. He makes this floating island pop out of the earth, and you have to go up onto the floating island to defeat him.
What is it with floating islands?
I don't know.
But anyway,
Lufia did the same thing. There was a floating island in that game called
Tears
Zane.
of the Kingdom. I mean, I can keep going.
So, but yeah, I remember going to the floating island, and I thought I was beating the game, and after you're done with that portion of the game, I won't mention anything in case somebody wants to play it. The island comes crashing down and basically destroys the world, and then it's a whole other 25 hours of regaining all of your people and trying to rebuild the world.
Right.
While Kefka's over here still okay, I'm the ruler of the world, but he still wants more power. So
yeah.
But yeah. Dude, I could go on for an hour about Final Fantasy III. I know as much about that game as I do Link to the Past, like you mentioned in episode 2. It's up here with the Brady Bunch soundtrack.
Right, exactly.
I don't want the Brady Bunch soundtrack. It's just there. I can't delete it off the desktop. It's just
exactly. But yeah, you know what? I think that should be the game of the week.
I mean, there you go. That could be the game of the week for sure.
Because 100%. I love that game to this day. That's one of my probably, if not my favorite Final Fantasy.
I could put that in a top 3.
Yeah. And it's 6 in Japan, you said.
Yeah. So 4 gets a lot of crap. But 4 for me is pretty damn close to for as far as how good of a game it was to 6. Cuz
right.
Remember, my first game was Final Fantasy 1, but I actually didn't beat that until I was an adult.
Huh, weird.
I got to the end, but I could never beat the last guy as a kid. I don't know. I beat Dragon Warrior before I beat Final Fantasy
right.
1. But
and that's crazy because Final Fantasy, to me, it was a little more interesting than Dragon Warrior.
Yeah, correct. So I remember getting Final Fantasy 2 when it came out for Super Nintendo. Also from Rockaway Records. I got it used. Right. But when I got home, the music, just the story, the game, the whole way that it was developed and put together, just it was so good. And a lot of people would disagree with me that 4 or 2 was all right, is what a lot of people in reviews say. It's kind of hit or mixed reviews or whatever.
Right.
But as far as character development, the story between each character kind of having their own theme, and how expansive the world is. It's not as polished as 6, but it's pretty damn close. The way the story progresses and all that. You go to the freaking moon, for crying out loud, in that game, and
I know it was crazy.
This big beast.
Yeah,
I think his name was Zeromus or Zenith or I don't remember, but it starts with a Z. But yeah, that was a great game too.
Part 2 thing. Speaking of the SNES, Part 2 was kind of cool, but I played Part 2 after Part 3, the North American version.
Oh, crazy!
In Japan. Yeah, I played Part 2 later after 3, which obviously 3 blew 2 away, but 2 was pretty cool. I liked it. I think that's when they introduced the imps and all that. I just have memories of the way the characters looked. I actually made shoes for this guy in a 8-bit pixel, kind of like his hat style.
They were white Converse.
Yeah, for your birthday or Christmas or something.
I wore the crap out of those. I had to throw them away.
Yeah, he wore them out. But
Thanks for those, by the way.
Yeah, of course. And one of your least favorite Final Fantasies, we talked about this earlier, was Part 10. I
didn't like the grid system on that game.
Yeah, I played that one on PC.
Okay.
And what's that guy that reappears, that boss that always reappears after a while after the later Final Fantasies? His name was Juggernaut. He always appeared like in every...
I think he was in 6 as
from
well.
like Part 8. Yeah.
He may have actually been the guy on the island that I was just referring to.
Yeah, he's like this like Ed 209 looking mechanical thing, right? I was always scared of that dude. He had like a bunch of chains and he was like this big old tank thing. It was crazy. But 10, that was the one where they were like in the sphere and all that. Actually, I played
Blitzball.
Yeah, Blitzball, the game, like Quidditch and Harry Potter or whatever. And I think Part 8 was the first PC Final Fantasy I played. On PC, I mean.
So people are going to get pissed off if we don't mention Final Fantasy VII because for the 90s, that was the pinnacle of like...
Well, I mentioned
that
it
RPG
earlier,
is
the
actually,
remake, but...
Yeah, but I mean, that
OG.
RPG got... Or I'm sorry, that Final Fantasy got people into RPGs as well as Skyrim.
Yeah.
Was another one that people just flocked to that never even played an RPG before. Like,
I think that's the one that put it into the mainstream for everyone.
Final Fantasy VII.
7.
Yeah, because they tried to get people into RPGs with Final Fantasy Mystic Quest for the Super Nintendo, which is more like a beginner, very basic Final Fantasy game. I actually finished that one.
Now, was 7 different in Japan? Like, was 7 over there?
It was, and
Did it catch up after a while?
7 in Japan had more content.
Did it?
I think
that's why we have
like
like
it was
Crisis
4 discs.
Core and all that.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that.
Because after they leave Midgar, there's more that happens, obviously, and so we didn't really get that until later on.
I do remember when I was working at Bookman's, though, a guy that I worked with named Dan Bruner. He was a teacher in Japan, and he would, it was later when he moved there, but he was kind of coming back and forth for a while, and he's the one that told me about how Final Fantasy VII in Japan is actually longer, and I think it had an extra disc, if I'm not mistaken, and the story was a little bit more in depth. Like, they just had more content.
Really?
So
the ones that
they always got the best crap, dude.
Yeah, I know. Well, they make them. I mean, and
they probably just think that Americans don't have as much of attention span as they do, or
right.
I don't know. I could be wrong, but
the ones that I don't remember at all are like the one that had like just all women for main characters. Was that 11 or 12 or something?
That was 10-2.
10-2. See, I don't remember
you could collect
10-2.
like dresses and stuff like that.
Okay, see, that's where I don't know if it was just a time in my life where I wasn't playing for a while. 10-2 to 12 was I didn't really play them.
See, I have that actually in my notes here. There was a time after the 90s where I really didn't even play RPGs.
Right.
I remember collecting a few of them for like the PS3 and the 360.
Just to kind of have them, and then
because I love RPG games, but I never remember. I told you you knew I was in a bad spot for a long time.
Life happens, you know.
Well, it was people that I was with, but there was a game I had for
Side quest
for the 360. It was called Enchanted Arms. Supposed to be really good. Yeah. I never played it. I ended up selling it later, but
jeez.
I probably had a handful of RPGs that I never got to actually play that I ended up, getting rid of that I regret now, but so
15 was cool. I
just got that for Christmas.
Nice. We got to play that because I actually did play. I started playing that, and then something happened in my life. I moved, and I just totally forgot about it. But Ricky gave me his copy, or he bought me one because he said you should play this if you're a Final Fantasy fan. And then just got 16 as a gift not too long ago. Still need to play that one. It's still in the wrapping. So there's a lot we need to catch up on.
Yeah.
And I wish I was like almost retired already, just so I can just
Or
play
just
games.
rich so we can play games and make podcasts.
Exactly.
You know, if once we get some merch,
Quit our day jobs.
once we get merch and you guys buy that from, I mean, it's gonna be you guys that are gonna help us out with this stuff.
Yeah. So we appreciate any feedback. Just be engaged. Comments. Let us know. Like and subscribe. That helps us out.
Yeah.
Watch the video to the end.
We enjoy
always
doing
appreciate
this.
that as
I mean, we want to make this like an all the time thing.
right.
Because we've said it before, like this is,
Yeah.
we know games
This is our passion.
besides
too.
music.
Yeah. This is our passion. Brothers from other mothers, just besides music, we do have this in common. We will have more episodes on our actual collections and our arcade games, which is very interesting too, because we have just many memories with arcade games, and we still are active in that too.
There is a Game On Expo coming up here in March.
That's right.
So we're probably going to go to that, and we'll have some footage from there, and we may even it'll be a giant side quest, and we will
Exactly.
have, some
And we would
pickups.
love to meet
You'll probably
some-
get some stuff signed.
Oh yeah, I'm big. Me and my brother Andy, we always get stuff signed. I think the latest thing I got signed was from Dave Duchovny, X-Files fan. So, but we do everything. I got the voice actor from Mega Man 11 to sign my Mega Man 11 game, and just crazy stuff like that. But if you're at Game On Expo here in Phoenix, we would love to meet you.
For sure.
Just we'll be hanging around. Just say hi or whatnot.
Just hanging around.
Yeah, and we'll probably be shooting some footage there and everything. So we would love you to just come up to us and say hi or whatnot.
Yeah. Eventually, we'll have people on here doing this with us.
Mm-hmm.
We may even just do some random phone calls or whatever for people that we meet out there. So, doesn't hurt to have people in your arsenal to talk games with.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
and let us know any ideas or games that we haven't mentioned that you want us to talk about or kind of go over.
genre.
All that. Just let us know. Comment, and we do pay attention to those because we're not some YouTube channel who has, millions of subscribers or whatnot. So we don't have so many. So
Even
whatever
when we
you
will,
comment, we do
will,
read
even
them.
when we do have 1 million subscribers.
Yeah, exactly. We'll try to do that as well and have the merch and all that. But we really appreciate your support and all that. So anything else you would like to close out with on this one? Episode 3.
I mean, we could talk about 1,500 other games.
Yes,
So,
I'm sure there's some RPGs that we didn't mention. Well, in
I've
fact,
got about
we
10
know.
right here, but that's fine.
Exactly. Well, name them off real quick.
I touched on
let's
a
see.
couple of them.
Just name them off.
in the last episode, but Legacy of the Ancients was another one I played with Michael Huffaker, a buddy of mine, when we were real young kids, probably in like 89, 90, around the Final Fantasy days. That was a Commodore 64 game.
Phantasy Star.
Phantasy Star 3, at my cousin Kenny's house. I mentioned that in the last episode as well. Draken for Super Nintendo, Lagoon, and
Lagoon. Duh.
Lagoon was great. It was one of those like, is it an RPG because it's Zelda-ish, but you do level up.
I always got those two in my memory bundled together: Star Tropics and Lagoon.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts,
Yep.
another fantastic series.
Our kids like that actually.
I've played the first two, and I really enjoyed them. Also, in that same time frame of my life when I had all those games that I wanted to play, but I really didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And then a big one for me as a child in the 90s, Lunar, the Silver Star Story.
That's right.
Which I just recently completed again. It came out on PS4 and Switch and Steam, and I double dipped on that one, and I got the Switch version and the PS4 version because it's nostalgia for me, and so I completed that 100%. I never played the second one, Lunar Eternal Blue, because it supposedly isn't as good as the first one, but and then Wild Arms for the PS1, and Breath of Fire.
Oh, okay.
So those were and Popolo Croix for PSP, which is like a French RPG.
It sounds French. I was like, I've
great.
never heard of that.
I'm actually playing
Popolo what?
Popolo Croix. It's kind of a cheap croissant.
Yeah.
But it's kind of campy and it's a little childish.
But it's RPG.
But I like it. I mean, it's one of those games you can sit and play on the toilet for 45 minutes. No,
That's
I'm
cool.
Just kidding.
Or on the couch.
Yeah. But no,
because if you play for more than 20 minutes on the toilet, you're gonna get some.
Yeah. I bought the
H's
3DS version of Popolo Croix, the second one, and it's all right. It's kind of boring, but I want to finish it because I beat the first one. And then, last but not least, the Ys series. Which I've double dipped on quite a few of them, and I've beaten a handful of them. Great games.
Yeah.
The story, and there's, for you manga fans, Ys has an anime, I believe, and manga as well. It's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
So
well, we covered
that's
a
all
lot.
I got.
Yeah, we covered a lot of RPGs. Feel free in the comments to kind of mention your favorite that we didn't mention. We would love to hear it.
There's hundreds.
Yeah, so just
I
let
didn't
us
even
know.
touch on all the Super Nintendo ones.
Yeah, there's a lot of ones that, a lot of them that I haven't played at all. I mean, you're talking about like way back in the day. There was so many on PC.
We
too.
didn't even mention Secret of Mana.
Secret of Mana, which is
We did in the last episode a little bit.
Yeah,
though. We touched on that.
We did. But what a great game that is. And then he recently recommended that I get the new release of it. And
Visions of Mana, yeah.
Yeah, and I played it for a little bit and all that, and looks great. That's recommended. Definitely recommend that game. But you surprised me. You said you never actually beat it.
The first Secret of Mana?
Yes.
No.
That would surprise the heck out of me. I was like, what? Because you love that game.
I do.
And it just surprised me. That's all.
The music is fantastic.
It is. But all right. Well, I mean, hey,
Thanks for watching, guys.
yeah, and let us know if there's any other genre of games that you would like us to kind of go over and talk about. Any recommendations? We'd love to hear about it, and we appreciate it. And don't forget to like and subscribe and comment and share.
Yeah, we'll see you on the next one.
See you guys here. Fizz.